Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage Skal.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Skal, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Spotted! Watch out!
Easy does it, boys. We can deal with this vermin. Eat this! Out here, go!
Watch yourselves! Here's one of them! Fucking don't stay alive!
Over there! There's one of them vermin! That's gonna hurt! Die! Over there! There's one of them vermin! Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
Vampire.
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, miss.
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my...
Gang member...
If you're...
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
Behind all your crude words and your attitude, I sense romance and a soft heart, Miss Cox.
Romance? I have no time for such rubbish. I use Booth like I use everyone else.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have. Pleasure, sir. It's been a while since we've seen any new faces around here.
Mark my words.
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
Cursed or not, he's
You'd best
just
be
enough.
off to your hunting then.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
Murders by night.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Or something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him. Quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Jack. He didn't deserve it.
Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind in fancy togs.
I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You'd best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
If you're uncertain about your safety here, the docks might not be the right place for you.
I got responsibilities. And it's not like I got the money to move anywhere else anyway.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colorful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
So this bar is neutral territory then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
Excuse my curiosity, but where exactly are you from, Miss Cavendish?
Something bothering you? What, my name? Or my complexion?
I'm sorry if I worried you. I was just curious to find out if you know this part of town well.
Nosy. My dad was a sailor from Bombay, and my mum was a maid born up in Glasgow. They got married in London. And here I am.
Believe me, I never judge someone on their place of birth or the color of their skin.
If that's true, you'd be one of the few not to make fun of me. Just you, Tom, Dyson, Miss Fishburne, and of course Mr. Hampton.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Poor boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
Nope. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. That's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.